Two-time defending Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins ran into 40-year-old master quarterback Sonny Jurgensen at his best in Week 5. Down 10-3 in the fourth quarter, he hit Roy Jefferson on a 37-yard touchdown pass. Down 17-13 with only 1 minute 46 seconds remaining, he completed 6 of 7 passes for 60 yards, including a 6-yard touchdown pass to Larry Smith with only 16 seconds remaining to ice a 20-17 win. Striving for a fourth straight Super Bowl appearance, the Dolphins surrendered a season-high 303 passing yards, but allowed the least amount of rushing yards on the season, 26. They were simply done in by an old pass master, like they would be 6 weeks later against Joe Namath's Jets. The Dolphins had a 5-game winning streak against the Jets, but were shut out in the first half. In the end, they were outrushed, outpassed, and committed more turnovers and penalties than the Jets. Quarterback Bob Griese was Miami's most effective runner, as Larry Csonka and Mercury Morris both ran 11 times for only 39 yards. Wide receiver Nat Moore was the Dolphins' most effective passer, as he connected on this 31-yarder, while Griese's longest pass completion was only 16 yards. Griese completed 8 of 19 passes on the day. Namath's 45-yard touchdown pass to Rich Castor with 5 minutes 5 seconds remaining put the Jets up 17-14. The first of Miami's 3 regular season losses occurred on opening day because they could not successfully run the ball, as they rushed for only 89 yards, the second lowest total of the season. In Week 14, they rushed for only 61 yards, again against New England. The Dolphins averaged 170 rushing yards in the other 12 regular season games. Chuck Fairbanks also broke out his old University of Oklahoma quarterback run option play. Don Shula's 3 losses were to 2 hotshot future Hall of Fame quarterbacks and a team that ran a college football defensive alignment that he couldn't overcome. The 1974 Dolphins' 11-3 record did not afford them home field advantage for the playoffs. Their opponent was the Oakland Raiders with the 12-2 mark, and Las Vegas oddmakers made them a 3-point favorite. Incidentally, the Raiders did not play the Patriots or Jets in 1974. While the Dolphins scored the 3rd most points in the NFL, the Raiders scored the most. Although the Dolphins were leading at halftime, they lost the services of cornerback Curtis Johnson, a 5-year starter, and first-team All-Pro free safety Jake Scott, number 13, due to knee injuries. Lloyd Mumford, Charlie Babb, and Henry Stuckey tried in vain to make up for these key players, but Raiders quarterback Ken Stabler threw 3 second-half touchdown passes, including the game winner to Clarence Davis with only 26 seconds remaining to secure a 28-26 Raiders victory. This game is nicknamed the Sea of Hands game due to Clarence Davis being surrounded by a host of Raiders defending the end zone. Quarterback Bob Griese made the AFC's Pro Bowl team in 1974. Ken Stabler was the other quarterback. It's debatable that Griese was worthy. He threw for the 9th most yards in the NFL, had the 8th best quarterback rating, and only had 2 touchdown passes greater than 13 yards. 8 of his 16 touchdown passes were 4 yards or less. This 49-yard strike to Paul Warfield was 31 yards longer than Griese's next longest touchdown pass. While Griese was a very good scrambler, a flaw of his was that he held onto the ball too long. He had the 18th best sack percentage in the NFL in 1974. Griese Griese was uncustomarily wild with his throws at times, as he had the 19th best interception percentage despite posting the second best completion percentage. That's kind of hard to correlate. What's far more easily understood was the nature of Larry Csonka's running style. Full steam ahead. Csonka had his eyes on playing elsewhere in 1975, and his future replacement, Don Nottingham, was a very similar runner. Zachary Morris's only 1974 rushing touchdown came in Week 2 on this play. He ran for 88 yards in this game, but only 214 yards on the season. He only started 3 games due to an assortment of injuries. He fumbled 4 times in 1974, and it was basically one big headache for the man who had rushed for an even 1,000 yards in 1972. Old reliable Jim Kick was still available for duty as he started 8 games, but only scored twice. His 3.2 yards per carry was indicative that his productivity was quickly waning. The future at halfback was 1974 second-round draft pick Benny Malone from Arizona State. He offered explosive quickness along with darting moves in the open field. His 479 rushing yards were second best on the team to Csonka's 749.
Nothing ever stays the same. It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate,
Csonka and Kick signed 3-year contracts with the World Football League's Toronto Northmen on March 30th, 1974 for play in 1975. The team was renamed the Southmen as it later moved to Memphis. Center Jim Langer was a Pro Bowl player for the 1974 season, as was guard Larry Little, fellow guard Bob Kuechenberg, and tackle Norm Evans. The team boasted 10 Pro Bowl players, and this stellar offensive line opened huge holes. Paul Warfield was one of the team's 10 Pro Bowl players, and he was by far the least deserving, as he posted pedestrian statistics while playing in only 9 games. He also signed a 3-year contract for big bucks with the World Football League's Toronto team for play starting in the 1975 season. The league folded and he played for his first NFL team, the Browns, in 1976. Rookie wide receiver Nat Moore was primed to take Warfield's place as the team's big play receiver. He was up to the task as he made first-team All-Pro in 1977. The Dolphins' defense was nicknamed the No-Name Defense, and it was very tough against the run, as they allowed the second fewest rushing touchdowns in the league. In 2 games against Miami, superstar O.J. Simpson ran 15 times for 63 yards and 14 times for 60 yards. In his other 12 games, he averaged 83.5 rushing yards. So the Dolphins limited his rushing production by 26%. The Dolphins had the 12th most sacks in the league with 31, basically middle of the road, and only sported 2 defenders with greater than 3 sacks, Pro Bowler Bill Stanfill with 10 and Vern Den Herter with 7. The 1974 Dolphins' most glaring weakness was their pass defense, as they finished 16th in passing yards allowed and 19th in interceptions. Week 13, the Dolphins' pass defense was so badly exposed that they barely beat the Colts, who ended up with 2 wins and 12 losses with a second-year quarterback at the helm. In Week 10, quarterback Gary Morangi substituted for injured Joe Ferguson. This was his first NFL action, as he was a rookie third-round draft choice from Boston College. All he did was complete 6 of 9 passes for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns in limited duty. It took a Dolphins rushing touchdown with only 16 seconds remaining to secure a 35-28 victory. The 28 points surrendered were the second highest for the season. The Dolphins' weak pass defense was the number one reason that kept them from playing in a 4th straight Super Bowl.